Hello guys, this is Darryl with Lee's Lawn Care and Services. How y'all doing? I just pulled up to one of my properties, my first one of the day. Had to take my daughter to the eye doctor today. Get dual eyes checked out, everything checked out pretty good. She getting I think they told me a smidge stronger prescription than what she had, so we gotta go get that taken care of, but everything turned out all right. Yeah, I'm getting off to a late start because I had to take care of that, family first. And then I gotta work tomorrow anyway, so I got 2 days to make up for the yards I didn't get a chance to do. I'm gonna do some today. I'm not gonna try to do them all, and then I'll do some tomorrow. I'm usually off on the weekends anyway, so it'll work out for me. But yeah, man, I wanted to just kind of update you guys on that customer that I said that she was talking about. Oh, it's been 2 weeks. Of course, she told a tale. Those yards was pretty high, and I didn't want to embarrass her by videoing those yards and putting them on here because I don't know. I just didn't feel the need to do that. So I took care of them, and she got a nice bill, but I still have to do her yard because remember I told you guys last time I was over there, they hadn't cut it. Her yard might have been at the time 2 weeks, but the other ones wasn't. The other ones was a month, maybe a month and a half behind. It was pretty bad. So I got to do her yard, and then I can submit the bills, and we'll be done for that. But I'm gonna tell you, I gotta tell you guys what happened. A diamond in the rough, man. So I went over there to do those terrible yards, of course, and this new complex they just finished this complex maybe a year and a half ago at the most. So I typically park there and kind of walk myself over, so that way I'm not on the street, because the way it's set up over there, it's just a main street running, and you got to do some off-street parking just to get to some of those properties over there. Excuse me. So I typically park at that complex that they just finished building. Like I said, it's been about a year and a half at the most that it's been open. But I used to park there when they were building it, and the construction guys, they had no problem with it because, they were working, so they didn't care. And most of the people, they thought I was one of the workers too, because I was there, so it didn't bother them. But now that it's open, there's a complex manager and all this other good stuff. So I parked my truck over there with the trailer out the way, and I took my stuff and I walked it down the street, and I was cutting the terrible properties. So in the process of cutting the terrible properties, the complex manager of the new apartment walked down the street and found me, and she was going to call the tow trucks because she said that one of the tenants complained that I was taking up too many spots or something. The trailer and all, you're taking up at least 4 spots. The place was pretty much empty, but some people feel some type of way. So they called her, and she went out there, and she saw my truck and all, but then she decided to come looking for me, right? So she came down the street where I was cutting. I'm in the front, Skag's running, trying to get the property under control. And then she comes there, and she waves, and I stop, and I cut the machine off, and I asked her, I said, can I help you? And she said, yes. She said, you got the right truck on apartment complex property? I said, yes. I said, you need me to move it? I'll move it. She said, no, you're fine, don't move it. I said, are you sure I could move it somewhere else? It don't have to be an inconvenience to somebody. I don't, I try to keep the peace, guys. I don't, I don't keep up no mess or nothing like that. I'm just a peaceful guy. So she said, no. She said, actually, I wanted to ask you how much would you charge me to cut the complex? I'm like, huh? She said, because the guy that she had got deported. And he must have been deported for a while, because this place it wasn't high, it was wild, to put it that way. There's a difference between high grass and just wild grass. And her grass is more wild than high. And so I said, I looked around, I stopped, I looked around at everything. I said, well, you're probably looking at about, just the cut and mow and everything. I said, you're looking at about $100. She said, okay. She said, that's fine. She said, when can you start? I said, well, I got a list today. I said, I can. She said, well, can you just do the front today and get the front mowed off and come back probably tomorrow or something and do the back? So I told her, I said, sure. So I finished the terrible property. Then I went to the complex. I mowed the front of it and got everything cleaned up there. And she gave me 50. She paid me 50 for that. And so I told her, I said, well, I said, I don't have the time today to deal with it. I said, but I'll be back tomorrow to do the back. So I got back on schedule, and I started doing my other properties. And she was just so thankful, so happy that she was able to get me, because she told me that she had talked to another lawn care guy, and he couldn't do it at all. He didn't have the time. And then I told her, I said, well, this time of year, I said, most of us are booked. I said, we don't have a lot of availability. I said, I had to make room for this lady to do her stuff. I said, but, and the tenant told me when I went over there, the tenant told me that I should have told her no, that I was full and that I couldn't do it. And so, but I didn't do that. I don't think God rewards us for, doing stuff, being kind of negative. I can understand if you can't do it, you can't do it. That's just one thing, but not to be negative about it, just kind of keep a positive aspect about it. But, so I didn't do that. I went and I did them. And by me doing her, I got the complex. And I called Josh and I told him, he said, the one they just built. I said, yep. He said, you got that? He said, how the hell? I said, son, I can't explain it. But I wasn't looking for that. And she's commercial too anyway, the woman with the tenants and all, she's a commercial property. So that's why she got 3 properties I do for her, and so I bill her for all 3 and she pays for all 3. But she's commercial. I have to do an invoice and submit paperwork and all that good stuff. So that's how I wound up getting the 2 new commercial properties, because of course the apartment complex is a commercial property that I'm now gonna be doing this every week over there, and grass cutting, cleaning, and occasionally I got a little tree trimming, which is really, really minute, real minimal. So, yep. So that's what happened, man. So by me taking on a terrible properties, I'm sorry, not just property, because she got 3, her house and the mother 2. And I got another commercial all year round outfit out of it. So, when I think about it, and then me and my wife talked about it, it's like God was pushing other stuff out the way, making room for what he saw was coming. And then that's the only logical thing I could take out of that, because I didn't see any of this, any of it. It just happened. And I got 2 solid commercial accounts that's gonna be bringing in. That's another, I think, like right around $850 a month. So man, I didn't see that. I didn't see it, but all because I decided to just go ahead and just take that woman back. Now she could go, but I got the contract with the complex. I'm gonna be there for a year at least, you know, and then we could opt out after that, or you know, whatever. But like I said, man, you never know, you know, what's behind those doors, you know, and I didn't see that coming. But yeah, guys, let me get out here and get started. I'm getting off to a late start. It's about 12, it's almost 1 o'clock. So I know I'm not going to get a whole lot done today, but then tomorrow I'm going to have to get up early, right around 6, and then I'll get out and I'll do some damage then. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one, but I just wanted to share that with you. You know, sometimes those doors, they look horrible, man, but you never know what's on the other side of those doors. You know, it could be something potentially that you didn't see coming, and it just opened up for you. So I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Peace out.